US 6. Yeah. Alright, we're talking about a big one today, US 6, the western half specifically and eastbound. George R. Stewart, the author of US 40, A Cross-Section of America, which is a book that I read in high school, of course, said of US 6, Route 6 runs uncertainly from nowhere to nowhere, scarcely to be followed from one end to the other, except by some devoted eccentric. Well, devoted eccentrics is kind of the brand of this channel, so let's dig in. Yeah, US 6. Let's take a look at the route, and we see US 6 goes from Bishop, California to Provincetown, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. Today we are only going as far as the Mississippi River in Bettendorf, Iowa. Alright, let's talk about eastbound US 6. We begin in Bishop, California, a place I've never been to, a place far away from any interstate highway, and someplace I'd like to check out at some point. US 395 leaves downtown Bishop and spawns the beginning of US 6. US 6 is signed for Tonopah right in the beginning. So here is the actual turnoff for the start of US 6, and we get a mileage sign seeing that Tonopah is indeed 112 miles away. And we get this lovely sign at the start, US 6 East, Provincetown, Mass, 3,205 miles away. We are on the second longest highway in America. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places that they're signed to go to. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. We've got wonderful views throughout the western half of this road. It is fantastic. So this is US 6 in California. The cutoff for Yosemite National Park, and we continue 82 miles toward Tonopah. We do get a cool California-style, old-timey East US 6 shield here. Junction, Nevada 360, 20 miles away, so you know you're not going through much if a different state is signing a junction with a state highway. And welcome to Nevada. In Nevada, we're getting Coaldale Junction. That is where we meet US 95, 34, then Tonopah, and now we're jumping all the way to Ely for our control city after that. Past Montgomery Pass, 7,167 feet, so we are pretty high up, although 6 will go higher. 360 goes to Hawthorne, which we saw recently, and 6 continues toward Tonopah. On our next mileage sign, we get the same control cities as we did on the previous one. Lovely basin and range, rugged mountains around these parts. We're meeting US 95 now. We talked about US 95 pretty recently. You can check out the US 95 northbound video right over there. US 95 goes north for Hawthorne and Reno. We go for Tonopah and Las Vegas. Skipping the 95 concurrency because that is covered in the 95 episode. Here is where we split. 6 is now signed for Ely and Austin. I don't know, a couple thousand people between those two. And it would kind of make sense to put Salt Lake City on 6's sign here at this point as well, I think. After splitting from US 95, Junction State Route 375, 49 miles away. Wow, 49 miles for a junction with the state route, and Ely 167. 375 is also known as the extraterrestrial superhighway. This is the area where you go right kind of near Area 51. The little alien, all that is in Rachel, Nevada, so turn right for all that. Now we're getting Ely 119, Delta 273. Wow, there's less than 7,000 people between the two of those. And we get some nice landscapes as we cross Nevada. We're meeting Nevada 318, which will be a shortcut over to Vegas from this point, and Ely still straight ahead. Lovely scenery out here. US 50 gets all the run, but US 6 does pretty nice too. Past Murray Summit, so another somewhat high summit, 7,300 feet. Coming down the mountain, starting to get some trees now. We are above Ely and we are coming down toward it. In Ely, we meet two different highways. Wow, we've got US 50 and US 93. Turn left for 50 and 93 for Ely, Carson City, and Twin Falls. Carson City, I wonder why they don't go Reno. We are joining a triple concurrency with 50 and 93. 3 signs here, East 6, East 50, and South US 93. Getting Junction US 93, 24 miles away, then Hinckley and Delta. So those are all US 6 things that are listed there, not US 93 things. We cross over some more mountains, and now we're at Connors Pass. This is actually a westbound shot because there was no sign for eastbound. Looking the other way from the top of this mountain as we go head down. We are now going to split with US 93, and we are signed for Great Basin National Park and Delta. We will continue to be concurrent with US 50. The actual split where we see our straight ahead and their turn. Delta, a now more reasonable 126 miles away, and we've got these nice looming mountains. Here's a kind of famous view of the loneliest road, US 50 loneliest road, also US 6 in this part. Kind of a traffic jam going on there. 2 cars, including the one we're in. And more views across the vast Nevada landscape. This is really a beautiful highway. I've driven this part of it, 50 loneliest road, but I was going westbound. Here's our turnoff for Great Basin National Park, and now we're getting Hinckley 90 and Delta 96. Those aren't really that far apart. We're getting them from quite a ways away. It's just because there's not really anything until we get to Hinckley. Here's kind of the only point of interest. We've got a border casino as we are leaving Nevada. And welcome to Utah! In Utah, once again, just Hinckley and Delta. We passed right by Elephant Rock, which is pretty awesome looking. You can see the elephant there in the upper right. And we've got more awesome mountain views across Utah. Here's a nice big sky shot as we head east. And we pass by a lake, which seems a little out of place in this desert kind of landscape. We reach Hinckley! Yay! Coming out of Hinckley, we get 4 miles to Delta, 94 for Provo, and 139 for Salt Lake City, which is interesting because neither 6 nor 50 go to Salt Lake City, yet it's probably the right thing to be signing here. Here is downtown Delta, really kind of the only civilization we've seen since we left Tonopah. 6 and 50 finally split in Delta. Going 6, we turn left, and we are signed for Salt Lake. 50 is signed for Fillmore going straight. Going in a bit of a northern direction, and we are getting Lindell 15, Eureka, and Salt Lake. We meet Utah 139 in Lindell, and now we're getting just Eureka and Nephi. So Salt Lake goes away for now, and we're just getting Eureka. I know we don't go to Salt Lake, but it is the right thing to sign. Salt Lake City comes back, so we're getting Eureka and Salt Lake. This is Utah Highway 36. We're still getting Eureka again at these smaller junctions. And here is Eureka. After all that signage, it seems pretty boarded up. It is population 700, and I imagine falling. We enter Utah County. Real creative county naming there, Utah. Here's some more nice views of US 6. And here we're meeting Utah 68. Again, why not Salt Lake City? In Santaquin, we join I-15. So we go north I-15 for Salt Lake. Utah signs US 6 right there with I-15, so that's cool. We get a mileage sign on I-15. We are not making it all the way up to Provo or Salt Lake City. I don't know why Utah 156 would get top billing over US 6 for Spanish Fork, Main Street, and Price if you head this way. Coming southbound, they had the same sign, and I feel like they ought to have Denver on there too, because that'd be the route to Denver. On this interchange, we see left, you go 156 for Spanish Fork and Main Street, and east, we cut out of Spanish Fork, and we are bound for Price. Right here, we're meeting US 89, which we'll definitely cover one day. That's a great road. We continue for Price. Price, 60 miles away. We're right next to these railroad tracks as we go through, I believe, the Wasatch Mountains. US 6 and US 89 are going to be splitting, and that sign up ahead, I'm not bothering to show it because it's all US 89 control cities for turning right. You get Price 50, a single sign. Price is kind of the only thing we're running into, so that kind of makes sense. Again, lovely scenes as we go through this mountain canyon. This is one of the main routes between Salt Lake City and Denver. Soldier Summit, another 7,400-ish mountain peak, so quite a few that we're hitting on US 6. This is also a westbound sign because there was none on eastbound. Passed by a rock called Castle Gate, and yeah, looks like the gate of a castle. And this is pretty awesome, this part of US 6. We are about to meet US 191. This scene just tells you, hey, you're about to meet US 191, pretty much the most beautiful road there is. We're now signed for Helper and Price, and here's our east US 6 and south 191 sign. Helper and Price are on a mileage sign up ahead. And here is Helper. Helper always sounded like a weird name to me for a city, but apparently it was named Helper because they put some kind of helper locomotive onto the trains going up these tall mountains. Business Loop, US 6 and Main Street. Further down, we're going to be meeting Price. We're now signed 6 East to Junction I-70, which is a long way away. And that junction's kind of in the middle of nowhere too. Also, I kind of feel like this is 191 erasure here. How come no sign for 191? We're still on 191. Here's our last exit for Price, and we are going back into the wilderness after that. At this point, we are signed for Wellington, just because there's not really anything else to sign. And here's a real last chance gas station. You're not going to have another chance to get gas until we get to Green River off of I-70. We're meeting Utah 123. We are going to be signed for Green River at this point. Now we're getting Green River and Grand Junction, which is apt because US 6 does go to both of those. Meeting I-70, I-70 here, signed for Green River and Salina. It's our ramp where we're going to be getting onto I-70, and we've just got sweeping vistas of I-70 heading that way. Here is the actual Green River of Green River that we cross. And we got fair treatment on I-15 with US 6 signed there. We're on 6 and 191 still, but we are not getting signed for that on I-70. I-70 is forcing itself to stand alone. We're also on US 50 at this point too. Crescent Junction, which is kind of the next town after Green River, then Grand Junction and Denver on our mileage sign. And here is where 191 will split away from us, heading south for Crescent Junction and Moab. So because we're on I-70, I skipped ahead to Colorado, and Colorado ignores us as well. We are just on 70 in Colorado. They do not sign 6 or 50. In Grand Junction, US 6 and US 50 leave I-70, so we are headed off, and 6 and US 50 split once again, US 50 east for Montrose, and we're doing North Avenue. After heading through and skirting around downtown Grand Junction, we are now meeting I-70 bypass once again, so we turn left there. And we're coming to I-70. I just wanted to show this Denny's because I stopped there the last time I was there. In fact, it was the first time my wife had ever been to a Denny's, so that was a cool spot. At the end of Business 70, we meet I-70. We have a choice for east or west. They do not sign US 6 even getting onto I-70. They just stop signing it. Wow, it's so weird of Colorado to be bad at signing stuff. That's so off-brand for them. This is even worse. We're back on I-70, and we're going to exit again at West Rifle. And on the interstate, they don't give us a sign for US 6 at all. US 6 is concurrent with 70 here and leaving here, and they don't tell us anything. And then once we get off the ramp, we get a 2 Colorado 13 North, but no sign for US 6 at all. We are, in fact, on eastbound US 6 that we see shortly after turning there, but they don't tell us how to get to this point. Colorado, ugh. This is Rifle, Colorado, and 6 is continuing straight through town. US 6 is quite near I-70 at this point, so I wouldn't sign US 6 for anything too far away. I'd sign it next for Silt, which is where we are now. We can see we are directly next to I-70 as we move between Silt and Newcastle, and then we are forced back onto I-70 here in Chakra. We go through Glenwood Canyon. Eastbound lanes of I-70 through Glenwood Canyon is actually the original routing of US 6 through Glenwood Canyon. Obviously, there's not room in this canyon to put 2 different roads here, so we are concurrent with 70 again, and 70 is on US 6's old pavement. US 6 will exit again here at Dotsero, but we get no sign for US 6 once again. Heading toward Gypsum, now we just get frontage road signed, even though frontage road here is US 6. They tell us it's frontage road, which we can figure out because it's next to the interstate. Our road to Gypsum on US 6. We get to Eagle, so there's another chance to get back to I-70 and East 6 straight ahead. And next we head through Walcott, and we've got this creek going through here, so this is a pretty nice looking place. At Colorado 131, we are now signed for Edwards, and you turn left there for Steamboat Springs. This is the Edwards area. You can still see I-70 in the background over there. We're never too far away from it in Colorado. In Avon, we see 6 is signed east for Eagle Vale, a city that is between Eagle and Vale, Colorado. And the other way, Arrowhead West. Isn't that Mile High Stadium? That's where we're going in this episode anyway. That's east of here, Arrowhead West. Here is Eagle Vale. We meet the start of US 24. We don't get anything signed for it. Should be Lawrence, Kansas, obviously. And we get East I-70, but no sign for US 6 whatsoever, once again. We're concurrent with 70 again, and now we are leaving 70 again at Silverthorne and Dillon, and this is the way to Loveland Pass. Going up Loveland Pass on US 6, this is the hazmat route around the Eisenhower Tunnel. This is a pretty cool road. I've done this a couple of times. Wouldn't want to do it in the winter, though. This is what it looked like on Street View in 2011. Wow, that is rough. And here's the actual highest point on US 6. It's one of the highest road points anywhere in the US. Loveland Pass, 11,990 feet. South down the mountain, and we can see I-70 in the distance there to our left. Got some real severe curves on this road as we head down. And we come back to I-70, and as Colorado does, we don't have a sign for 6. We're concurrent with I-70 again, and then we are going to split off for the Denver area, 70 East Denver, and we are getting 6 East Golden. Pretty nice road as we head down into Golden. Clear Creek Canyon Road. We've got Clear Creek just to the right of us, that bridge over Clear Creek, and we're heading into this tunnel, so this is all pretty beautiful, awesome stuff. We're meeting Colorado 93 and 58, and US 6 is turning right, and will be signed for Denver. We passed Lookout Mountain Road. The one time I stayed in Golden, Colorado, I went up to Lookout Mountain. It's pretty nice. Colorado 470. I did stuff about that last time the Chiefs played the Broncos. Red Rocks. Never seen a show there. That'd be awesome. We are having US 6 and US 40 meet. US 40 is going to become Colfax Avenue in downtown Denver. We'll get to that at the next Broncos game, 6th Avenue. It's a freeway. It's not a street. It's not an avenue. It's kind of weird. Colorado 391, and this was requested by Stealthy Noctowl. And he says when he used to work at FedEx in the southern Denver metro, he would take this route home if I-25 had too much traffic. Thank you so much for that request. Stealthy Noctowl made that request by putting a $5 super thanks on a comment, which anybody could do to request for future episodes. I really appreciate everybody who does. We've also got a Patreon going, so if you sign up for the Patreon, you also get exit requests for your paid membership. Thank you to all the Patreons. We're meeting I-25. We are not signing US 6, even though US 6 is a freeway itself, meeting a freeway. We are not signing that US 6 gets onto northbound I-25 here for reasons. I don't know. We get a decent view of downtown Denver from this end of 6th Avenue. And here is our ramp onto I-25, unsigned US 6 at this point. We meet US 40 and 287 Colfax Avenue, which again, we will see in a future episode. And here it is, Arrowhead West. Nah, I don't want to talk too much. I mean, we got killed by the Broncos for years and years. Beat me up all through my youth. But the Chiefs play the Broncos this week, so I hope we win by 100. Right here, we pass the amusement park that is right near downtown Denver. It's kind of interesting placement of this amusement park being so close to downtown. And here we go. This kind of was requested by Andy Weishaar because the one he requested is one I'm not actually covering in this episode. So thank you so much for that request. And 70 East Lyman, also unsigned US 6. Outside of downtown Denver, US 6 does get its exit with US 85 for Vasquez Boulevard. And US 6 now will leave I-70 forever after being intertwined with it for quite a ways. We meet 270, but we only have a chance to get on westbound 270, so fortunately we don't have to see what eastbound might say. On the 270 sign, we're only getting US 85 signed here for Vasquez Boulevard, even though this is US 6. Colorado just hates signing US 6 at all. We're meeting Colorado 2, and we continue straight on US 6 and North 85. We get dumped onto I-76, and I-76 is actually signing all three roads, at least for now. We meet US 34 in Fort Morgan, and 6 will continue on I-76. US 34 comes back to us, and we are going to be exiting I-76 for Akron, Yuma, and Ray with US 34. At the end of the ramp, this sign's pretty weird. 2 US 6 and 2 US 34. It's not 2, this is US 6. US 6 is kind of the service road for I-76 between Brush and Sterling, so I'm not going to worry about all these small towns we meet on the way. Obviously, each one should be the control city for 6, because if you were going further, you take 76. In Sterling, we are meeting the beginning of 138, I believe, and we continue straight for Holyoke. Here's our last junction with I-76, and then we leave it forever. On I-76, US 6 is signed for Sterling and Holyoke. Sterling is right around where we are. Holyoke is a little ways away, as we'll see. So we get a mileage sign. Holyoke is 48 miles away. It's basically the last town in Colorado. We will jump ahead there. Downtown Holyoke, and we will meet US 385 and the High Plains Highway. We get to the Nebraska border, and apparently this border is so rarely visited that there's no street view since 2007. In Nebraska, McCook is going to become our primary control. Here's where we actually do meet US 34 and become concurrent with it after bouncing off US 34 in Sterling. And for 6 and 34, McCook is still going to be the control city. In McCook, we meet US 83, so we are going to be concurrent with US 83 southbound as well. Northbound US 83 is signed for North Platte, and our next control city is going to be Holdridge, 74 miles away. Further down in McCook, US 6 and 34 are going to go straight, and US 83 is going to leave us and head south. We meet US 283 in Arapahoe on the way, and here is the start of US 136, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Holdridge is still our control city. And it's a little bit bigger of a city than what we'd seen before, although I think McCook is bigger. US 6 and 34 are signed to go straight, and we are meeting US 183. Looks like Kearney is our next primary control city, and Kearney is a place I've heard of. We aren't heading to Kearney. We're going straight, and the state highway is heading to Kearney, and Minden will now be our control city. Here's Minden. We meet Nebraska 10, and we are still still concurrent with US 34. In Minden now we get Hastings as our control city, so that's another place I've heard of. We meet US 281 and we're going to be concurrent with that for a little ways as well. And in Hastings, US 34 and US 281 are going to split off and 6 will become independent once again. Coming out of Hastings, now we're getting Lincoln 99. Lincoln is our control city. That's quite a swing. You wouldn't take US 6 to Lincoln, I wouldn't think. You'd probably cut up to I-80 and take that because it'd be faster. We're meeting US 81 and 81 South is signed for Geneva. We are signed for Fairmont and York going straight. Fairmont and York go away after passing through, and now we're getting Exeter and Lincoln. This is Nebraska 33, and Crete is signed here. I actually think Crete should probably be the primary control for US 6 coming out of maybe McCook, because Crete is quite a bit bigger than any of these other towns we're going through. And we don't go all the way to Crete, but we cut off it here. This is kind of a weird one. At Nebraska 15, we are getting Seward 9 straight ahead and Lincoln 17 turn right. But if you wanted to go to Lincoln, you'd be better off going straight and hitting I-80. US 6 parallels I-80 for quite a while, and then we are finally going to meet it right around here with US 77. We are in Lincoln now. We're getting the Haymarket Park event parking lot, and 6 is turning left. The Lincoln skyline a little bit in the background there, which I think is just the Nebraska State House. We cross over I-180 and US 34, so we get to meet one of the famous 180s. So 180 and US 34 turn left, and 6 will become the Cornhusker Expressway, veering to the right. And before we almost touched I-80, we had an exit for it, but we didn't actually cross it. Here's our first true I-80 meeting, and we'll be seeing a lot of I-80 for the next while. And we are getting US 6 East Waverly. We're getting Omaha on the mileage sign, which makes sense. I wouldn't necessarily say Omaha should be the control city here, though, because if you wanted to go to Omaha, again, you take I-80. And we're getting Ashland 7. I feel like the secondaries are kind of more key on this road because any long-distance traffic would take the other road. In Ashland, we meet Nebraska 66, and we get Lincoln and Omaha. We cross the Platte River. This is our meeting with Nebraska 31, and Gretna will kind of be our control city now. We're crossing over US 275. It's heading to Wahoo! On US 275, here is our exit for US 6 and Nebraska 31 for Gretna and Elkhorn. Gretna's to the south, Elkhorn is to the north. And we leave Nebraska 31 and get 6 East Omaha. And 6 should be signed for Omaha at this point, and we are very close. Technically, we're in Omaha, in the Elkhorn area of Omaha, but it is an exclave of Omaha. Here's 150th Street in Omaha, and this was requested by Luke Eccles. So thank you so much for that request. I really appreciate that. A laundry list of exits sign on the US 6 freeway in Omaha. We're going to be meeting 680 and 80. Actually, 680 is what's leaving here, and 6 East becomes Dodge Road. Here's the University of Nebraska Omaha, which nobody outside of Nebraska ever knows about, so hey, Cornhusker fans, you don't have to say UNL. When you say Nebraska, we know it's Lincoln. Dodge Street is going to become a one-way, so we're going to veer to the right and head down 1 block to the south. Right here, we cross over 480 and US 75. US 75 video you can check out right over here. That's quite a road. And we head right into downtown Omaha on US 6, so that's pretty interesting. And we pass right by this, the tallest building in Omaha. I think it's the Omaha building. Leaving downtown, US 6 dumps into 480, and we're going to be crossing the river. And the people of Iowa welcome you. We are crossing the Missouri River, and we've got Riverfront West Broadway exit only. US 6 follows I-29 and I-80 around Council Bluffs, but we are going to take the old US 6 because we've done enough 29 and 80, so we're going to take exit 0 for Riverfront West Broadway. Here is Broadway, old US 6, and pretty sweet car that we see on Street View right away. We're on kind of a bypass road, and we're going to take the old road into historic downtown. And here is downtown Council Bluffs, and we merge back onto that main arterial that is Old 6. I-80 East Des Moines, which is where we meet US 6's current designation. US 6 is sound for Council Bluffs and Oakland. Council Bluffs is the road we were on. It's not actually US 6 anymore. Oakland is where we're heading now. So as US 6 leaves I-80, we see it is signed Oakland 21 miles away. We meet US 59, which should be signed for Lawrence, and we will be concurrent with it. US 59 is going to split off, and we will go straight. Right here we are meeting US 71 south, and we will be concurrent with that for just a short amount of time. We've reached I-80, and US 71 northbound is going to continue north. We are going to be joining I-80 once again. And Iowa is nice enough to give us a US 6 sign on I-80, not doing like those Colorado people. On I-80, of course, Des Moines is our control city. US 6 is going to leave right here with US 169 for Adel. Adel. So we're turning left, heading to Adel, 5 miles up. And after going north for 5 miles, we are going to continue east. So we turn right once again and leave US 169. On US 6, we get this control sign and we get Urbandale 15. I think Urbandale is probably the best control for US 6 because at this point, you'd still take I-80 for Des Moines. It's still a little faster. In the Urbandale area, we are meeting I-35 and I-80's Des Moines concurrency here. And heading into Des Moines, we are meeting US 69 in this kind of random neighborhood. You would expect US 6 and US 69 to meet right in downtown Des Moines. Maybe at one point they did. Meeting I-235 and East 6 straight ahead. North US 65, Mason City next left. 65 is an awesome road. I'll do that one day. And we pass right by Adventureland. I remember seeing that on the freeway a bunch when I was a kid. We always wanted to go there. My dad and my brother finally did go while I was in Korea, so I was super jealous of not going to Adventureland. This is pretty weird here. We're meeting I-80 eastbound, and it's going to be for US 6. Westbound I-80 is going to be also north US 65. US 65 does kind of a weird thing. So let's take a look here. US 65 is kind of on a freeway, and it ends at I-80, then goes one exit on I-80, and then exits once again to be on the road that we're on US 6. I don't know why US 65 doesn't just exit at US 6 and become concurrent, because 65 is going to go straight north there anyway. Seems like a really weird, convoluted route. We were concurrent with I-80 for a little bit, and now we're going to be leaving it once again for Newton and Monroe. US 6 at Newton was requested by Jordan, so thank you so much for that request. Here we are in downtown Newton, and after leaving Newton, I feel like Grinnell should probably be our next control city, but we are quite close to I-80 at this point too. So again, you wouldn't take US 6 to Iowa City, you'd take I-80. Here's Grinnell, home of Grinnell University. I have a couple of friends who went there, always with the t-shirts, where the hell is Grinnell? Well, it's here. Coming out of Grinnell, Iowa City is still on the bottom line, but we're still at a point where you take I-80 instead of US 6 if you were going to Iowa City. Meeting US 63, and we are going to be concurrent with US 63 for a short amount of time. US 63 is leaving us, and we are continuing on US 6 for Brooklyn. We're going to be concurrent with 151 now, so that's why we are getting Cedar Rapids on our signs. 151 goes to Cedar Rapids. Coralville is where we will be going. And now we split with 151, so 151 goes straight, and Cedar Rapids, we are going east toward Iowa City. We pass under I-380, no big surprise, because we know that goes between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City. We don't have an exit for it, though. And we also pass under I-80 with no exit. We're very near the I-80 and 380 exits, which I think that is why we don't have an exit. We're entering Iowa City. We get this cool Iowa City Bridge. And in Iowa City, we go right past the University of Iowa, so I've got lots of friends who've gone there. We're meeting US 218 in Iowa City. And US 6 is going to be turning left for West Liberty as we cross the Iowa River. Davenport becomes our primary control city once we are out of Iowa City. But again, if you were going to Davenport, you'd probably be taking I-80. We find our way back to I-80, and we are going to turn right on East 80 East 6. On I-80, Durant, 8 miles away, Davenport is the bottom line control. Leaving I-80 once again on 280 along with South US 61. Northbound US 61 is going to go on 80 itself. We leave 280 after 1 mile and become more or less independent, East 6 on Kimberly Road. And we see Kimberly Road turn right on US 6, Davenport 7 miles away, although I think we're actually in the Davenport city limits already. We're meeting US 61, again in a non-freeway function. This also feels like this should be a downtown meeting, US 61, US 6. Meeting I-74, and we're going to become concurrent with that, 74 East Moline, which makes sense in this part that it would be signed Moline. And this isn't there anymore, but at this interchange, we've got the Jumers. My parents tell me this was the happening spot in the 70s. We meet US 67, the Avenue of the Saints, more or less, and it is signed for Grant Street and State Street and Riverfront. We cross the Mississippi River. Yay, we've made it all the way to the Mississippi. Welcome to Illinois. So that will end this half of US 6. We're going to come back into the eastern half the week the Chiefs are playing Cleveland. All right, let's take a look at Todd's the way it should be for US 6 Western Eastbound. So eastbound, there is a lot of places. There's these, and then there's these, and then there's these. I feel like this episode is long enough already, so I'm not going to read all of these words. You can pause this screen and read the whole thing, but I assure you I have left none out and included only the ones that should be included and not included any ones that should not be included. All right, thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. This has been a lot of fun. US 6 is a great road. I've been meaning to get to it for a while, and it's fun to finally do so. Next week, we got I-290 in Buffalo, so that's going to be a bit shorter of an episode. Bit easier to make too, so that's nice. But until next time, my name is Todd, and keep on trucking.